Now today, we're going to be looking at a subreddit, Tales from Retail, which is a subreddit on Reddit. I used to work at a retail job. I've worked at Walmart. I worked at a local grocery store for a little bit. I feel like I can relate to this, and maybe y'all can find some enjoyment too. A creative theft attempt. My aunt has worked as a cashier in a supermarket for at 30 years. Gotta fix your grammar. And one of her stories particularly stuck to me. One day, as she was scanning products for a woman at her register, the alarm that reacts to a security tags going through went off. The customer seemed surprised as she was discharging her cart on the conveyor belt, but she stepped away from the alarm and raising her hands to show she had not items. Okay. Okay, I got you. My aunt was very confused and looking at the alarm devices. Nothing seemed to be going through, but the alarm was still going off. As she got up to check more closely, she finally saw the mystery. A toddler was pushing a pressure cooker on the floor through the alarm system, encouraged discreetly by her mom. The unashamed woman ended up paying for the pressure cooker to avoid the cops being called and was never seen in the store again. I have personally never witnessed someone using their child trying to steal something like as big as a pressure cooker. But according to this comment, this seems to be a very popular device. So, hey, if you're looking to have a kid, this could be a reason. I have seen kids used like that at a bank. They would prop their kids on the counter next to the ATM, and the kid would be closely watching the screen and the keyboard, maybe to see the pin entry. People would feel awkward, but they did not want to tell the kid to go away. On one occasion, my turn came up at the machine, and I told the kid politely to please get down from the counter and not look at the screen. The presumed father immediately came over and made a fuss about me bullying his child. I asked him why he wanted his kid to look at the screens, and he gave me the finger and walked out with the child. It might have been a case of simple curiosity, but it did seem very sketchy to me. Scummy parent. During the late 90s, my family visited this enormous, by European standards, shopping mall, where we spent most of the day. When it was time to go home, we headed to the doors towards the parking lot, and then the alarms went off. Security guards showed up and checked contents of our bags against the receipts. Everything checked, so the security guard decided to check who was setting off the alarm by making us pass the door one by one. Dad walks through, no alarm. Mom walks through, no alarm. I walk through, no alarm. Last up is my 2 to 3 year old brother who, upon toddling through the doors, his hand held by the security guard sets off the alarm. So we're all thinking, he probably just grabbed some small doodah off the shelves and stuffed in his pockets. No big deal. We'll just find it and hand it over. We check his pockets, the one in his jacket, the ones in his sweater. Only lint comes out. While my dad continues double and triple checking every pocket he can find, my mom keeps asking my little brother if he's sure he hasn't taken anything from the store. My brother insists he hasn't. After almost an hour of breaking our brains over this, we managed to find the culprit. An itty bitty sticker tag was attached to the sole of my brother's shoe. We take off the tag, little brother walks through the doors again, alarm stays off. We all had a good laugh about it afterwards, but man, that was such a stressful situation to be in. I guess that was more of an accident on their part. Not her using her kid as accomplice, that's wild. I agree. If you are debating having a kid and you want a reason, this could be a reason. Now, I'm not promoting that, but it's there. At the grocery store where I used to work, there was a woman that would come in with a kid, way too big for a stroller, stuffed into a stroller, and she would be power walking all over the store. She always set off the alarms when practically running out the door. They finally got her at the door one day, and her daughter pulled all kinds of stuff out of the stroller, and out from under her shirt and in her pants, cussing the whole time about how we were robbing them. Kid was maybe 7 or 8, and mom had taught her to steal already for her. Bad thing is, it wasn't food. It was mostly cosmetics and beer/wine. Last I saw, that woman had been arrested for the 3rd time. No idea anything about the kid. Very creative ways to steal, not essentials, especially if you're gonna claim that the grocery store is stealing or robbing you. I can see you can make the argument if they were stealing I don't know, baby food. If the kid was, 1 or 2, not 7 or 8. Imagine from the very young age of 8. And we're just assuming they started at 8. They could have been doing this at a very young age of 4 or 5. Hey, we're going to go to this grocery store, okay? And we're going to steal everything that we do not need. You're going to get some wine for mommy. You're going to just be hushed about it, okay? This is, how the American dream works. Customer yelled at me because they didn't know how tax worked for greenhouse items. I started work at a small retail store a few months ago. I learned so much, but one day I had to get a rude customer who wouldn't even listen to me as I knew what to do. A lady approached my manual checkout with a hanging plant basket that we sell at $24.99. You can scan the barcode on the plant or use a 3-digit code on a piece of paper at our checkouts for greenhouse items. I use a code as either one will come up with the same price. It has rung up to $24.99. But here is the catch. We have a tax for greenhouse stuff. It added the tax of $150, which is about normal tax. That's kind of how tax works. I don't think it's specific to the greenhouse stuff, but maybe for this store. But taxes, come on. This is 2023. If you're now being baffled at the idea that we're going to get taxed, reevaluate. It added the tax of $1.50, so it had rung up to $26.49, as we always do when it's time to check out. We said, your total is price. I did that, and the lady gave me an angry look saying, that isn't right. It should be $24.99. I calmly explained to the lady that we have a tax for greenhouses, and pointed to the second monitor mounted to our lamppost that there was a tax, but the lady wasn't buying. Now, of our rules and regulations, we can't stand there and argue with the customers. We have to leave it to the manager on shift. I went to the customer service desk as the lady followed with the plant in hand, thinking I was grabbing the book or flyer we have for the greenhouse. However, I already knew the prices by now. My manager for the shift was sitting doing the lottery. I called out as I walked over. I explained that the hanging baskets are $24.99. He confirmed it. The lady that followed behind said to him that the plants were $24.99 and were wrong on my checkout. He needed clarification and went to the checkout. I explained to the manager that it was $24.99 plus tax, and the manager was like, yeah, your total is $26.49. I even asked him if I was right, and he said, yeah. The lady left with the plant all paid to give me a look that I was in the wrong and that I scammed them. I don't get people sometimes. Yes, customer service. You either like them or hate them. I think that's the beauty of working retail. It's just obviously a giant customer service industry, and no matter what you do, if you're explaining the most simple of rules, saying like, hey, there's going to be a tax on greenhouse items, I mean, you should expect a tax. Assuming this is taking place in the US, you should be expecting tax on most retail items. And not to mention there's a literal sign that says there will be a tax on all greenhouse items, and the manager confirms it, and you still have the gall to say you're in the wrong. I should be right because for whatever reason, we don't charge tax. We just have it to collect for the state. Well, it's always my response to this sort of stuff. I mean, I understand like that is a good response, but I feel like it's just common human knowledge. If you are old enough to understand how a store works and you're able to go in and buy things, I feel like it's not that, out of nowhere or out of pocket to have taxes on stuff. It's just kind of how sales tax works. We've been doing this for like years, multiple years. Was she from another country? In most places, the tax is included in the price displayed. So what it says on the shelf is the same as the amount of money you need to remove from your wallet to pay for it. Could the confusion have been something along those lines? So, yes, if that's how the store works. But then again, there was a sign that said that there was a tax on greenhouse items. So if she's not from this country, then you can give her a pass. But that's just like the limited knowledge that we know. If we can give her like a full pass, exemplifies the struggles from working retail. Why do customers destroy everything and want to return it? I used to work at one of the big electronic stores. I used to wear blue shirts, so that helps. We have 2 entrances, and we were using one for the entrance and one for the exit. Now, I don't know if y'all been to a Best Buy, but that's kind of how Best Buy works. I was one of the managers. I was dealing with the front of the store, transactions and customer questions while they were purchasing things. Oh, and I didn't know if I told you, it was Black Friday, which is a fun time to work in retail. So I had a customer come through the exit and storm up the desk. He plopped his 50-inch TV that looked like a shotgun was shot at it multiple times. He threw the receipt at me and says he wants a refund. In the process of looking at the television, I inspected the receipt that was 5 years old, like 5 years to the month. After arguing, explaining us to return it, and then threatening my 18th female customer service associate, I had to call the cops. They came in and I explained the situation. Then they explained the situation, saying that they won't move out of the store without a refund. Don't you just love entitled customers that they could bring in a 5-year-old TV to the month that looks like it's been destroyed, and they're like, no, I'm not leaving until I get a refund on this. Like, for me, if I was like this delusional, if the cops showed up, yeah, I'm out of there. I don't think a 50-inch TV is worth going to jail over, or at least the hassle. In the end, they started getting aggressive now and slamming his fist on the already broken television. He caught a piece in his hand and it started bleeding. I asked if he wanted first aid. He called the ambulance and they treated him on site. After they treated him, my customer service associate decided to press charges that she didn't feel safe around the guy. Not only did he get arrested for trespassing, because he still didn't leave, he got a restraining order. I'll follow it up with this: why do retailers even take it back? One of the answers is that they are spineless and soft. Why the heck am I even still working in retail? And at least good on your staff on not taking it back, handling the situation as smoothly as possible. Also, I do love that this comment, if we don't take back this used product, this customer won't shop here anymore. They're not your customer. They're just borrowing a product and they shop somewhere else. Let them. And I think that's one of the funniest things, working in retail. There will be some altercation where some lady or some man didn't understand that the prices were wrong, or they weren't getting maybe the best service, and they're oh, you lose a valuable customer. I feel like I'm definitely not the first one saying this, but good. If you go to a Walmart, you think your service in your business is going to bankrupt them? I mean, if you do, then more power to you, and maybe stick it to them. But regardless, you not shopping there is not going to cause some giant, butterfly effect that, in a couple months you'll be oh, Walmart has gone bankrupt and all their stores are gone. And it's because of this one person, because they didn't want to shop there because they weren't treated nicely. If you don't want to shop there, or if you don't like the experience you had shopping there, then just don't shop there. If it causes you that much anguish, go to if you're shopping at Walmart, go to Target, go to Aldi, go to anywhere else, or a different Walmart. Because not all Walmarts are run the same. Yes, they have the same basic outline and everything, but every Walmart's different with their managers. I mean, the Walmart that I worked at was not the greatest, but it wasn't horrible. And it was all dependent on the managers, because the vibe of a store is really dependent on the managers. This is not me advocating for managers saying oh, you should always love your managers. No, if the managers aren't good and you're an employee feeling that, then the store can definitely feel that from the customer point of view. I think that does it for this video. I just want to try a new format. Let me know in the comments if you like this, any suggestions on either other subreddits I can look for. I may take a look at this again because I really enjoy looking at these tales from retail. I hope to make more videos similar to this format, if not in a different style. Hopefully I can start streaming soon, but yeah, peace.
You wanna beat me? I like to see you beat me. I've always had one house. You better. I'll get the 9. In the past 3 days, I have made crap biz, but you only